So it's 2025, and the AI boom has been absolutely unstoppable. You'd think a tech giant like Nvidia would be completely untouchable, right? Well, you might want to think again. An old world asset just staged a pretty shocking comeback, crashing the whole tech party and really rewriting the rules of the market.
So let me just ask you this directly. In a year completely dominated by AI, what asset could possibly have a bigger market cap than the company that's literally powering the entire revolution? The answer is, well, it's going to surprise you. It's not another tech stock, not some new crypto coin, but something way, way older. And here it is, silver. Yeah, silver. Just take a look at these numbers. The white metal has surged to a market cap of $4.7 trillion. That actually pushes it right past Nvidia to become the second largest asset in the entire world, leaving tech titans like Apple and Alphabet in its dust. I mean, this isn't just a small shift. It is a total rewrite of the global asset leaderboard.
Okay, let's really dive into this. How did gold's quieter, forgotten cousins suddenly become this massive market titan? This isn't just some random price blip. This reflects a huge shift in how the market is thinking about the digital world versus the physical world. This is the year an old world asset just flat out crashed the tech party. For almost a decade, precious metals and big tech stocks, they weren't even in the same conversation. Well, that all changed in 2025. So the key thing to understand here is silver's secret weapon. It's dual identity. On one hand, yeah, it's a precious metal, it's a store of value, just like gold. But on the other hand, it is a critical, non-negotiable industrial workhorse. And that combination, well, it has turned out to be absolutely explosive. And just look at how dramatic this performance has been. Gold itself had an incredible year, up 72%, but silver, a staggering 170% gain. It's no wonder analysts started calling it gold on steroids, and this chart shows you exactly why. So, what really created this perfect storm? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was this powerful convergence of a few different factors that just sent the price to the moon. It really boils down to four key drivers hitting all at the same time. First, you have this overwhelming industrial demand, and not from old school industries, but from the new tech sectors. Second, a massive supply shortage. We've now had a structural deficit for 5 straight years. Third, a big shift in monetary policy, with rate cuts making assets like silver a lot more attractive. And finally, all the geopolitical uncertainty, which always boosts demand for safe havens. Let's really dig into that industrial demand, because this chart tells the whole story. Roughly half of all the silver consumed every single year goes into industrial processes. We're talking solar panels, electric vehicles, all our electronics, and even the data centers that power this AI boom. It's an absolutely essential ingredient for the green energy and digital transitions. And this is where the problem gets really serious. The world is facing a structural silver shortage. For 5 years in a row, we have used more silver than we've managed to mine. Inventories are near historic lows, especially in key markets like China. And it's creating this global game of musical chairs, where there's just not enough metal to go around. So this all builds into a much bigger story. This rivalry between silver and Nvidia, it isn't just about numbers on a screen. It represents this fundamental debate about what's actually going to power our future. They're really two sides of the same coin in this massive global transition. Think of it this way. An investment in Nvidia is a bet on AI infrastructure. It's a bet on code and computing power. An investment in silver, on the other hand, is a bet on the physical infrastructure that makes all of that possible. The solar panels, the EVs, the grid itself. So you can see how they're not just rivals, they're actually deeply interdependent. And hey, if you need more proof of how important this is, just listen to Elon Musk. When he was asked about silver's price spike, he put it very bluntly. This is not good. He knows, firsthand, that you just can't build the future without this critical metal. So the big takeaway here is that in 2025, precious metals didn't just show up to the party. They completely outperformed big tech. And that performance directly challenged this long-held assumption that the only way to invest in the future was through AI and software. So what's the lesson here? What should we take away from all this? Well, this surprising rivalry reveals a market that's being forced to relearn some very old rules, especially the rules of physical scarcity. We're seeing a really fundamental shift in how investors are thinking. First, they're totally rethinking diversification. It's no longer just about which tech stock to own, but how you balance that tech with real, hard assets.
Second, they're recognizing the interdependence between the digital and physical worlds. And third, they're finally pricing in real-world scarcity in a way they just haven't for years. And that really is the bottom line, isn't it? In 2025, Nvidia's biggest competitor wasn't another chip maker. It was a humble gray metal that served as this powerful reminder to the entire market that physical things, supply chains and real-world scarcity, they still matter. A lot.
Which kind of leaves us with this one last question to chew on. As we look ahead, is the future going to be built primarily on code or on metal? The big lesson from 2025 seems to be you probably can't have one without the other.